Looking back now, 8 years later, I still can't believe I almost didn't go back to our cabin that afternoon. If I'd stayed at the spa for my full massage appointment like Graham expected, I'd be dead. My husband of 30 years would have collected the insurance money, and no one would have questioned it. After all, what's more natural than a woman with a heart condition passing away peacefully in her sleep? But I'm getting ahead of myself. It was September 2017, and Graham had surprised me with an Alaskan cruise for our 30th wedding anniversary. We'd both retired the year before me from 35 years as a librarian at the Portland Public Library System, and Graham from his accounting firm. We'd been looking forward to traveling more, and this felt like the perfect way to celebrate 3 decades of marriage. I was 64 years old, Graham was 66, and we'd built what I thought was a good life together. Our son Ethan was a successful attorney in Seattle with 2 beautiful kids. We had a paid-off house in Lake Oswego, comfortable retirement savings, and the kind of easy companionship that comes from knowing someone for half your life. The cruise ship left from Vancouver, and those first 3 days were magical. We ate too much at the buffets, watched the glaciers from our balcony, and danced awkwardly at the evening shows. Graham seemed more attentive than he'd been in years, always making sure I took my heart medication, insisting I order the best wines at dinner, encouraging me to book spa treatments. On the 4th day, I had a massage appointment at 2 in the afternoon. Graham said he'd be at the casino, trying his luck at blackjack. I checked in at the spa, changed into my robe, and settled into the relaxation room with cucumber water and soft music. But 20 minutes before my appointment, I developed a splitting headache, the kind that makes your vision blur and your stomach turn. I apologized to the receptionist and headed back to our cabin on Deck 7, figuring I'd take some Tylenol and lie down. The ship's corridor was quiet. Most passengers were either at lunch or on excursions in Juneau. I used my keycard and pushed open the door as quietly as possible, not wanting to disturb Graham if he'd come back early. The cabin was dim, curtains drawn, and there on the small desk, Graham's laptop sat open, screen glowing. Graham wasn't there. I almost closed the laptop. I'm not the kind of wife who snoops. In 30 years, I'd never once gone through his phone or read his emails, but something made me stop. Maybe it was the angle of the screen. I could see it clearly from the doorway. Maybe it was the words I caught in that split second before I could look away. Transfer confirmed. Tre Suda Opsich, 0. My hand froze on the door handle. $380,000? What transfer? I should have closed the laptop, should have walked away. But my feet carried me across the tiny cabin, and I sank into the desk chair, my headache forgotten. The email was from someone named Rowan Mitchell to Graham. I didn't recognize the name. The subject line read, "Timeline revised." My hands trembled as I scrolled up to read the full chain. Graham, the house refinance cleared faster than expected. $380K is now in the offshore account. Let's move timeline up to Friday night instead of Sunday. Weather forecast shows fog, better conditions, less visibility for cameras. Remember to make sure she takes both pills at dinner. The real ones are in my cabin, Suite 9042. We'll switch them back after. Everything needs to look natural. R. I read it again. And again. The words didn't make sense. Friday night was tomorrow. Both pills, my heart medication. Why would someone need to switch my medication? With shaking fingers, I scrolled down. The next email was from Graham. Rowan agreed on Friday. I'll make sure she has wine with dinner. Suggest we take a late walk on deck. The upper deck is usually empty after 11 p.m. I've been researching cruise overboard protocols. If the fall doesn't kill her, the water temperature will. Hypothermia in under 30 minutes. By the time they turn the ship around, it'll be too late. I couldn't breathe. The cabin walls seemed to press in. My husband of 30 years, was planning to push me overboard. My fingers moved without conscious thought, scrolling further back in the email thread. There were dozens of messages. Months of planning. The life insurance policy is solid. $750K, double indemnity, for accidental death. Plus, her IRA is in my name now. $280K. Combined with the house refinance, we're looking at close to $1.5 million. She's been compliant about the medication switch. Doctor prescribed new pills last month. I told her they were from the pharmacy but gave her placebos instead. If anyone checks after the accident, her real prescription will be in the cabin. They'll assume she forgot to take them. Classic heart patient non-compliance. Once this is done, we can finally be together. No more hiding. I'll wait a respectful 6 months. Then, meet someone new at my grief support group. No one will question it. I discovered my husband wasn't just planning to kill me. He'd been systematically preparing for months. The house I thought was paid off had been secretly refinanced. My heart medication, the pills I'd been taking religiously every morning and night for the past 6 weeks were fake. And this Rowan person, they were talking about being together. I forced myself to keep reading, even as my stomach churned. An email from 3 weeks ago. My attorney confirmed, if it's ruled an accident, there's no waiting period on the insurance payout. We could have the money within 30 days. Another from last month. I love you. I can't wait until we don't have to pretend anymore. Just a few more weeks. I love you. Graham was having an affair. With someone named Rowan. My vision blurred. From tears or shock, I wasn't sure. I heard voices in the hallway. Laughter, getting closer. I grabbed my phone, opened the camera, and photographed every email I could, my hands shaking so badly the images were barely focused. I took 15 photos. 20, 30. The cabin door beeped someone using a keycard. I closed the laptop and dove for the bathroom, locking the door behind me just as Graham walked in. Vera? You back already? His voice was concerned. The voice of a caring husband worried about his wife. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror, pale, eyes too wide. If I went out there now, he'd know something was wrong. Just finishing up, I called, making my voice steady. Massage gave me a headache. I'm washing my face. Oh no, honey. Want me to get you some Tylenol? Honey. He'd called me honey while planning to throw me off a ship. I already took some, I said. I'll be right out. I turned on the faucet, splashed cold water on my face, and stared at my reflection. Think, Vera. Think. Graham couldn't know I'd seen the emails. If he suspected, he might move up the timeline even more. Or change the plan entirely. I had to act normal. I had maybe 36 hours. And I had to call Ethan. I stayed in the bathroom for 3 more minutes, forcing my breathing to slow, my hands to stop shaking. Then I opened the door with a smile. Graham was lounging on the bed, watching CNN. He looked up with concern. You okay? You look pale. Just tired, I said. I think I'll skip dinner tonight. Maybe just order room service. Absolutely not, Graham said firmly. It's our anniversary cruise. We're eating at the steakhouse tonight. I already made reservations. You'll feel better once you eat something. Besides, you need to take your medication with food. My medication. The fake pills. You're right, I said, sitting on the bed beside him. My husband, my murderer. The steakhouse sounds lovely. He put his arm around me, and it took everything I had not to flinch. I love you, Vera, he said, kissing my forehead. These 30 years have been the best of my life. I managed to say, I love you too. The words tasted like ashes. That evening, while Graham showered before dinner, I locked myself in the bathroom with my phone. Cruise ship Wi-Fi was notoriously spotty, but I had just enough signal. I called Ethan. Mom? You're supposed to be on your romantic cruise. Everything okay? His voice was warm, happy, normal. Ethan, I whispered, I need you to listen very carefully and not react. Are you somewhere private? The warmth drained from his voice. What's wrong? Your father is planning to kill me. Tomorrow night. I have evidence. I need help. There was a long silence. Then, Mom, I'm putting you on hold for 30 seconds. Don't hang up. The shower was still running. I clutched the phone like a lifeline. Ethan came back. Okay. I'm in my office. Door locked. Tell me everything. Fast. I told him about the emails, the medication, the life insurance, the house refinance. The words tumbled out in a rushed whisper. Did you forward the emails to yourself? Ethan asked, his voice cold and professional now. Lawyer mode. No, I took photos. Should I go back and... No. Don't touch his laptop again. He might have tracking software. Send me those photos right now. I'm calling someone. Who? A federal agent I work with. Mom, insurance fraud across state lines is federal jurisdiction, and if he's tampered with your prescription medication, that's another federal crime. You're not dealing with local police here. While Graham finished his shower, I sent Ethan every photograph. 33 images of damning evidence. Got them, Ethan said. Okay, here's what's going to happen. Someone will call you within an hour. An FBI agent named Sienna Reyes. She works maritime crime. Mom, this is crucial. You have to act completely normal until they can set something up. Can you do that? I don't know. You have to. If Dad suspects anything, he could panic. Change the plan. You need to be exactly the wife he expects. Compliant, trusting. Ethan, what if? Mom. His voice cracked slightly. You're the strongest woman I know. You raised me while Dad worked 80-hour weeks. You put yourself through graduate school while working full-time. You survived cancer. You can survive this. I'm getting on a flight to Alaska tonight. I'll meet the ship in Skagway tomorrow. Just hold on until then. I heard the bathroom door open. I have to go. I love you, Mom. Stay alive. The line went dead. I deleted the call log, tucked my phone in my purse, and went to dinner with my husband. Graham ordered wine. An expensive Bordeaux. You deserve the best, he said, toasting me across the candlelit table. I smiled and sipped the wine, watched him watching me. He ordered my steak medium rare, the way I liked it, told the waiter about our anniversary, held my hand across the table. And when dinner came, he pulled out my pill organizer. Don't forget your medication, honey. I looked at the 2 pills, one blue, one white. According to the emails, these were placebos. The real medication was in Rowan's cabin, which meant for the past 6 weeks, I hadn't actually been taking my heart medication. I should have been furious. I should have thrown the pills in his face, screamed, made a scene. Instead, I smiled and swallowed them with wine. Good girl, Graham said. Good girl. Like I was a dog performing tricks. My phone buzzed in my purse. A text from an unknown number. Miss Parker, this is Agent Sienna Reyes, FBI. I've reviewed the evidence your son sent. I'm currently 200 miles from your location, but I'll be on your ship by tomorrow morning. Until then, maintain your routine exactly. Do not confront your husband. Do not let him know you're aware. If you feel you're in immediate danger tonight, call ship security and ask for Captain Morrison by name. He's been briefed. Delete this message after reading. SR. I deleted it while Graham paid the check. That night in our cabin, Graham was affectionate, wanted to make love. I pleaded exhaustion, the wine making me sleepy. He seemed disappointed but understanding. Save your energy for our big day tomorrow, he said. I have something special planned for tomorrow night. I bet you do, I thought. I lay in the darkness beside him, listening to him breathe. 30 years. We'd been married for 30 years. I'd slept beside this man for 10,000 nights, made love with him, raised a child with him, buried his parents with him, survived my cancer diagnosis with him, and he'd been planning to throw me off a ship like garbage. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, Graham suggested we have breakfast at the buffet, then explore Skagway together. I agreed to everything, smiled at everything, was the perfect, compliant wife. At 9 a.m., my phone buzzed. Another text from Agent Reyes. I'm on board. Deck 12, port side, coffee bar. Come get coffee alone at 10:15. Your husband is being surveilled. At 10, I told Graham I wanted a fancy coffee. He offered to come with me, but I said I needed to stretch my legs, maybe browse the shops. He kissed my cheek and told me to take my time. I found Agent Reyes at the coffee bar. She was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes and a casual tourist outfit that made her blend perfectly with the other passengers. She handed me a coffee. Walk with me. We strolled the deck like 2 passengers enjoying the morning sun. We've identified Rowan Mitchell, she said quietly. He's in suite 9042 like the emails indicated. We've been monitoring his cabin. We also ran his background. Vera, Rowan isn't Graham's business partner. He's a con artist who's been investigated for fraud in 3 states. Never convicted, but he's been on our radar. My coffee cup trembled in my hand. There's something else, Agent Reyes continued. We ran your husband's history. Graham was married before you, correct? Yes, Catherine. She died in a car accident before we met. He told me it was a drunk driver. It wasn't a car accident. Catherine drowned during a vacation in Belize, 27 years ago. The death was ruled an accident at the time, but the case was never fully investigated. We're reopening it. The deck seemed to tilt under my feet. You think Graham killed his first wife too? Catherine had a $500,000 life insurance policy. Graham collected it and moved to Oregon 6 months later, where he met you. Agent Reyes's voice was gentle but firm. You weren't his first attempt, Vera. You're his second. I had to grab the railing. Here's what's going to happen tonight, Agent Reyes said. You're going to follow Graham's plan exactly. If he suggests a walk on deck, you'll agree. If he suggests going to an empty area, you'll go. You'll be wearing a wire. I'll have 4 agents positioned around the upper deck. The moment he makes a move, we'll intervene. You want me to be bait? I want to catch him in the act. Otherwise, all we have are emails that a good lawyer could argue were taken out of context or hacked. We need him to attempt the act. We need it on record. And if your timing is off? Agent Reyes met my eyes. It won't be. I spent the day being the perfect wife. Graham and I toured Skagway, took photos in front of the historic buildings, bought overpriced souvenirs. He held my hand, made jokes, was charming to every person we met. And all I could think was, this man killed his first wife. And tonight, he plans to kill me. At 4 p.m., Ethan texted me. I'm in Skagway. I love you, Mom. At 6 p.m., Agent Reyes fitted me with a wire in a public bathroom. It was so small I couldn't even feel it against my skin. You're incredibly brave, she said. I'm terrified, I admitted. That's what makes it brave. Dinner was at the main dining room. Graham ordered champagne, made a toast to 30 more years. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so horrifying. After dinner, just like the emails predicted, Graham suggested a walk on deck. It's a beautiful night, he said. Let's watch the sunset from the upper deck. It'll be romantic. My heart hammered against my ribs. That sounds lovely. We took the elevator to deck 12. The upper deck was mostly deserted, just a few passengers at the far end. Graham guided me toward the bow, where it was quieter, darker. The ocean stretched endlessly in every direction. We were miles from land, miles from help. Graham put his arm around my shoulders. 30 years, he said. It's gone by so fast. It has, I managed. He looked at me, and in the fading light, his face was unreadable. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we'd never met? Sometimes, I think about it a lot lately. He turned to face me fully, his back to the ocean. No positioning me with my back to the ocean. I think about the choices we make. How one decision can change everything. His hand tightened on my shoulder. Graham, I said. My voice shook. I couldn't help it. What are you doing? I'm sorry, Vera, he said softly. I really am. But you were supposed to take your medication. You were supposed to have a heart attack in your sleep. This way is messier. But you've been so healthy, and we're running out of time. His hands moved to both my shoulders now, gripping hard. The thing is, he continued, almost conversationally, Rowan and I need that insurance money, and I'm tired of waiting, tired of pretending, so I'm going to need you to… FBI, don't move! Lights blazed. 4 agents appeared from nowhere, 2 from behind deck chairs, 2 from a doorway. Graham froze. His hands were still on my shoulders. Graham Parker, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, and prescription drug tampering, Agent Reyes said, appearing at my side. Remove your hands from your wife. Now. Graham's face went through a remarkable transformation. Shock, then rage, then calculation. Vera, he said, looking at me with wide, innocent eyes. What's going on? This is insane. We were just… Save it, I said. My voice was steady now. I read the emails. All of them. I know about Rowan. I know about the house. I know about Catherine. Something cold flickered across his face. Something that made him look like a stranger. You stupid bitch, he said. Not loud. Almost a whisper. You really thought you could outsmart me? 2 agents pulled him away from me, cuffing his hands behind his back. You have the right to remain silent, Agent Reyes began. They arrested Rowan Mitchell 15 minutes later in his cabin. found the real heart medication in his safe, along with fake IDs and $380,000 in bearer bonds. The ship's captain offered to turn around, but Agent Reyes said they'd wait until the next port. I spent that night in a different cabin, under guard. Ethan was allowed on board and sat with me until dawn. "Mom," he kept saying, "Mom, you're okay, you're safe." But I didn't feel safe. I felt like everything I'd believed for 30 years had been a lie. The trial took 18 months. Graham's lawyer tried everything, argued the emails were fake, that Rowan was acting alone, that Graham had been manipulated. But the evidence was overwhelming. The wire recording of Graham admitting Catherine was supposed to have a heart attack, but he was tired of waiting. The prescription fraud, the offshore accounts, the refinanced house. And then the Belize police reopened Catherine's case, found witnesses who'd seen Graham with her on the beach moments before she drowned, found inconsistencies in his original statement. Graham was convicted of first-degree murder in Catherine's death and attempted murder in mine, sentenced to 40 years without parole. Rowan got 15 years for conspiracy and fraud. That was 8 years ago. I'm 72 now. I sold the Lake Oswego house, too many memories, and bought a small cottage in Cannon Beach, Oregon. Ethan and his family visit every month. My grandchildren are 10 and 12 now, and they love searching for tide pools on the beach. I got my real heart medication back, of course. Turns out 6 weeks without it hadn't done permanent damage. My doctor said I was lucky. Lucky? I suppose I was. I never remarried. People sometimes ask if I'd want to try again, find companionship. But I'm content with my life as it is. I volunteer at the local library, take watercolor classes, have coffee with friends, and every year on September 15th, the day Graham tried to kill me, I take myself out to dinner, I order an expensive steak and a glass of good wine, and I toast to myself, to survival, to trusting that voice in my head that said something was wrong, to taking those photographs even when my hands were shaking, to being brave enough to act normal when every instinct screamed to run. Sometimes people ask me how I survived, how I didn't panic, how I managed to act normal for 36 hours knowing what I knew. The truth is, I almost didn't. Every moment was agony. Every smile was a lie. Every word felt like swallowing glass. But here's what I learned. You're stronger than you think you are. When your life depends on it, you find reserves of courage you never knew existed. I also learned to trust my instincts. That headache that brought me back to the cabin early? Part of me wonders if my body knew something was wrong, if some survival instinct was screaming at me to pay attention. The other thing I learned is this: document everything. If something feels off, if you notice inconsistencies, if someone's behavior changes, take notes, take screenshots, save emails, tell someone you trust. If I hadn't photographed those emails, Graham's lawyer would have argued they'd been deleted, that I'd made them up, that I was a scorned wife seeking revenge. But I had evidence, concrete, irrefutable evidence. People also ask if I blame myself for not seeing the signs earlier. The answer is complicated. Looking back, yes, there were red flags. Graham's insistence on managing our finances alone, his anger when I suggested we see a financial planner together, the way he'd pushed me to increase my life insurance policy last year. But red flags are only obvious in hindsight. At the time, they just looked like quirks, like the normal friction of any long marriage. And that's what makes betrayal so insidious. The people who hurt us are often the ones we trust most, the ones who know our vulnerabilities, our routines, our passwords. Graham knew exactly which pills I took and when. He knew I trusted him to handle our finances. He knew I'd believe him when he said he loved me. And he used all of that to try to kill me. But I survived. Not just survived, I rebuilt. My cottage here in Cannon Beach has windows that face the ocean. Every morning, I wake up to the sound of waves. I drink my coffee on my porch and watch the sunrise paint the water gold. And I'm alive. That's what I tell people who ask for advice, who share their own stories of betrayal and survival. Whether it's a cheating spouse, an abusive partner, a family member who stole from you, whatever form the betrayal takes, you can survive it, you can rebuild, and on the other side of that darkness, there's light. Maybe not the life you planned, but a life nonetheless. Sometimes, it's even better. Because I know myself now in a way I never did before. I know what I'm capable of. I know I don't need someone else to make my life complete. I'm enough all by myself. And every sunset I watch from my porch is a sunset Graham said I'd never see. Every breath I take is a breath he tried to steal. Every moment of joy, every laugh with my grandchildren, every peaceful night's sleep, it's all mine. He didn't take it. He tried, but he failed. So if you're reading this, or hearing this, and something in your life feels wrong, trust that feeling. Pay attention, and know that you're stronger than whoever is trying to hurt you. They're counting on you being weak, being trusting, being compliant. Prove them wrong. Stay alive. And when it's over, when you're safe on the other side, take yourself out to dinner, order the best wine, and toast to yourself, because you survived. And that's everything.